Have you ever stood in your kitchen reaching for a familiar, healthy food, completely unaware that this one simple choice could quietly push your kidneys closer to irreversible damage? If you're over 60, or if someone you love is what I'm about to say, may sound unsettling, but it could also protect you from a mistake that sends thousands of older Americans toward kidney failure every single year. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and I need you to listen carefully, because this is not about rare diseases or extreme diets. It's about an everyday habit repeated without fear, without pain, and without warning until the damage is already done. Most people believe that if a food is natural, familiar, and recommended for digestion or detox, it must be safe. That belief is exactly where the danger begins. In aging bodies, especially after 60, the kidneys no longer forgive small mistakes made over and over again. What once helped your digestion can suddenly overload your filtration system. What once felt light and cleansing can slowly scar the very organs keeping your blood clean. And the most alarming part is this: there are no early alarms, no sharp pain, no clear signal telling you to stop. I've seen patients who ate carefully, exercised regularly, and still watched their kidney function decline faster than expected, all because of one overlooked food combination they trusted for years. But here's the reason I want you to stay with me until the very end of this video. This damage is not inevitable. Once you understand which combinations silently strain your kidneys, and more importantly, how to use these foods the right way, you can protect your kidney function, preserve your independence, and avoid the path that leads to dialysis. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the critical mistake most people over 60 make without realizing it, the science behind why it becomes dangerous with age, and the exact adjustments that allow your kidneys to recover instead of deteriorate. This information may change how you look at your plate for the rest of your life, so don't look away now. After the age of 60, your body does not react to food the same way it once did. And this is the part most people don't realize. White radish itself is not a toxic food. In fact, for decades, it's been praised for helping digestion, reducing bloating, and cleansing the body. But once your kidneys begin to age, that same food can quietly shift from helpful to harmful. Here's why. Think of your kidneys like an old water filter. When it's new, it can handle dirt pressure and small mistakes without trouble. But after years of nonstop work, that filter becomes sensitive. It clogs faster, it recovers slower, and it can no longer tolerate repeated stress. After 60, kidney filtration naturally declines by about 1% every year, even in healthy adults. That means foods that stimulate strong detox reactions, like white radish, can suddenly overload the system, especially when eaten the wrong way or too often. I once treated a patient in his late 60s who believed deeply in clean eating. He avoided processed foods, exercised daily, and regularly ate radish-based meals because he thought they were light and protective. But over just 2 years, his kidney markers worsened faster than expected. There was no pain, no warning signs, just quiet decline. What we discovered was simple but alarming. His kidneys were no longer able to handle repeated digestive stress triggered by certain food combinations involving radish. Not because the food was bad, but because his aging kidneys had lost the flexibility to adapt. Scientifically speaking, white radish contains active compounds that stimulate digestion and fluid movement. In younger bodies, that's usually beneficial. In older adults, however, this stimulation can increase filtration pressure inside the kidneys. Over time, repeated pressure leads to micro damage, tiny injuries you won't feel, but your kidneys will remember. This is why many people over 60 are shocked when doctors tell them their kidney function has dropped suddenly. The truth is, it wasn't sudden at all. It was slow, silent, and driven by habits that once felt healthy. So the real danger is not the radish. The real danger is how age changes the rules, while our habits stay the same. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is another factor far more dangerous that most people completely overlook. And this is where the danger becomes very real. Because once you understand how aging kidneys lose tolerance, the first deadly combination reveals itself. The number one food you should never eat with white radish is raw carrots and cucumbers. It sounds harmless. It looks fresh. And that's exactly why so many people fall into this trap. Radish salad with shredded carrots. Cucumber slices mixed in for crunch. A clean, refreshing dish people eat almost every day, especially when they want to protect their health. But inside an aging body, this combination quietly does the opposite. I once spoke with a woman in her early 70s who told me proudly that she ate this exact salad nearly every afternoon. She said it helped her digestion and kept her meals light. But over time, she noticed something strange. Her energy dropped, her legs felt heavier, and her kidney numbers slowly worsened even though she wasn't eating anything bad. Here's what was happening beneath the surface. Raw carrots and cucumbers contain an enzyme called ascorbinase. This enzyme actively destroys vitamin C. White radish, on the other hand, is naturally rich in vitamin C, one of the key nutrients that protects kidney tissue from oxidative stress. When these foods are combined, raw studies show that up to 70 to 80% of vitamin C can be destroyed within minutes sometimes before the food even reaches your stomach. That means the radish loses its protective effect, and your kidneys are left exposed to oxidative damage with no defense. In younger adults, the body can often compensate. But after 60, antioxidant reserves are lower kidney, blood flow is reduced, and recovery slows down. So repeated exposure to this kind of nutritional loss doesn't cause pain. It causes cumulative damage. What makes this combination especially dangerous is how innocent it feels. There's no heaviness, no discomfort, no immediate warning, just a slow erosion of the very protection your kidneys desperately need. Now there is a way to reduce this risk. Adding acidic elements like lemon juice or vinegar early can partially deactivate ascorbinase. Light cooking can also break down the enzyme. But most people don't do this. They eat it raw, again and again. And that's why this healthy habit quietly accelerates kidney decline in older adults. But knowing this alone is still not enough, because there is another factor far more dangerous that most people completely overlook. Now that you understand how one healthy combination can quietly strip away kidney protection, there is another mistake that is even more common. And this one doesn't happen once in a while. It happens every single day in homes all across America. Eating fruit immediately after a meal that includes white radish. It sounds harmless. In fact, most people believe it's one of the healthiest habits you can have. Finish your meal. Reach for an apple, a pear, some grapes, something light, sweet, and refreshing. But in an aging body, timing matters more than the food itself. I remember a man in his late 60s who told me he never skipped fruit after meals. He believed it helped digestion and prevented blood sugar spikes. Yet he complained of constant fatigue, cold hands, poor sleep, and worsening kidney labs that didn't make sense. What was happening wasn't obvious, and that's what makes this habit dangerous. White radish contains natural compounds that, when combined with certain fruits and digested too closely together, can form thiocyanate-like byproducts. These compounds don't cause sudden illness, they act slowly. Research shows that thiocyanates can interfere with iodine uptake, subtly suppressing thyroid function over time. And here's the critical connection most people miss. Your thyroid helps regulate metabolism, blood flow, and kidney filtration pressure. When thyroid activity drops, even slightly, kidney circulation suffers. Fluid regulation weakens, fatigue increases, nighttime urination becomes more frequent. In adults over 60, where metabolic reserve is already reduced, this effect becomes magnified. Not because the fruit is bad, not because the radish is bad, but because the timing is wrong. Studies in older populations show that spacing certain foods by just 3 to 4 hours can significantly reduce metabolic interference and improve hormonal balance. Yet most people stack everything into one sitting, believing more nutrients at once means more benefit, and the body simply can't process it that way anymore. The tragedy here is subtle. People feel like they're doing everything right, but slowly, silently, the kidneys are forced to compensate for hormonal imbalance and metabolic stress they were never meant to handle. There is a simple solution: delay fruit. Let digestion finish. Give your system time to reset. But almost no one talks about this. And unfortunately, this is still not the most dangerous mistake, because the next combination, the one almost no one expects, may be the deciding factor in whether kidney damage can still be reversed. By now, you might be thinking you're safe as long as you avoid certain food pairings. But this next mistake doesn't come from carelessness. It comes from good intentions. Combining white radish with ginseng or herbal kidney tonics. This is one of the most overlooked and most dangerous habits in older adults. I've met many people in their 60s and 70s who believe deeply in supplementation. They don't trust processed foods. They don't rely on fast fixes. Instead, they turn to traditional remedies, ginseng herbal blends, kidney support tonics, hoping to restore strength naturally. I remember a retired teacher in his early 70s. After a long illness, his family bought him high-quality ginseng extracts to help him regain energy. To improve digestion, he regularly ate meals containing white radish at the same time. Within weeks, he felt heavier, more fatigued, and noticed swelling around his ankles in the morning. The supplements weren't the problem. The radish wasn't the problem. The combination was. From a traditional perspective, ginseng is considered a strong tonic that helps the body retain and rebuild energy. White radish does the opposite. It stimulates downward movement, clearing, dispersing, and flushing. When these two forces collide inside an aging digestive system, they cancel each other out. The tonic never fully absorbs, and the kidneys are left to process a confusing mix of partially metabolized compounds. From a modern medical standpoint, this matters even more. After 60, kidney clearance capacity is reduced by as much as 30 to 40% compared to young adults. That means anything that creates metabolic noise increases filtration stress. Clinical observations show that improper supplement timing is associated with higher rates of fluid retention protein in urine and worsening kidney markers in older adults. Not suddenly, but progressively. The fix is simple but rarely explained. Never combine white radish with ginseng or herbal tonics in the same meal window. Separate them by several hours or avoid radish entirely on supplement days. Because at this stage of life, more support doesn't mean better. It means precise support. And yet, as serious as this mistake is, it still isn't the most dangerous one, because the final combination, the one almost no one suspects, can quietly push the kidneys past the point of recovery. This is the combination almost no one talks about. Not because it's rare, but because it looks harmless, quiet, even traditional. White radish eaten together with wood ear mushrooms, also known as black fungus. This pairing appears in soups, stir-fries, spring rolls, and light meals that older adults trust. It's common, it's familiar, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. I once met an older woman in her early 70s who complained of constant bloating, poor sleep, itchy skin, and frequent nighttime urination. Her test didn't show anything dramatic. No acute disease, no clear diagnosis. But her kidney function was slowly declining month after month. When we reviewed her meals, one pattern stood out. She often combined white radish with wood ear mushrooms, believing the dish was cooling, cleansing, and good for circulation. What she didn't know was what this combination was doing inside her body. Both white radish and wood ear mushrooms are classified as strongly cooling foods. In younger bodies, that's usually manageable. But after 60, digestive fire weakens. Stomach acid drops. Intestinal movement slows. When two cold foods enter together, digestion stalls. Gas builds, fermentation increases, and pressure rises inside the abdomen. Here's the part most people never hear, that internal pressure compresses blood vessels supplying the kidneys. Reduced blood flow means reduced oxygen delivery. Over time, this leads to chronic underperfusion, one of the silent drivers of kidney decline. Clinical observations show that prolonged digestive stagnation in older adults is strongly associated with toxin retention, skin itching, fatigue, fluid imbalance, and worsening kidney markers, even when lab results appear borderline normal. And because there's no sharp pain, no dramatic symptoms, people keep eating the same meals. Day after day, week after week, this is often the tipping point. The moment when kidneys shift from slow strain to irreversible damage. The solution isn't extreme, but it is precise. Never combine white radish with wood ear mushrooms in the same meal. If you eat black fungus, pair it with warming foods like ginger or onions. If you eat radish, keep the meal simple and warm. Because at this stage of life, digestion and circulation are inseparable from kidney health. And now that you've seen the four most dangerous combinations, the question becomes this: is it still possible to reverse the damage or at least protect your kidneys from getting worse? Stay with me because what comes next may be the most important part of this entire video. If you've stayed with me until this moment, I want you to know something important. Your kidneys are not fragile because of age. They are simply asking to be treated with a little more understanding, a little more care, and a little more intention. You don't need extreme diets. You don't need expensive treatments. Very often, protecting your kidneys starts with small, thoughtful choices at the table. What you combine, how often you repeat a habit, and when you give your body time to rest and recover. And the fact that you're here listening already tells me you care about your health and your future. If this video helped you see food in a new way, please take a second to save this video so you can come back to it whenever you need a reminder. And if you want clear, honest, science-based guidance to protect your kidneys, your sleep, and your independence as you age, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way you won't miss our latest medical insights designed especially for long-term kidney health. Most importantly, remember this: it is never too late to protect your kidneys. The body has an incredible ability to stabilize, adapt, and heal when we stop making the same small mistakes over and over again. One mindful meal today can mean years of better health tomorrow. Thank you for trusting me with your time. Take care of your kidneys because they take care of you every single day.